In 2019, vote restricts election between residents of Beijing after landslide win of pro-democracy camp. Hong Kong. After a election revision that makes it impossible for pro-democracy candidates to enter the ballot, began to vote in the first Patriots regional council elections. The vote on Sunday, which restricts election between Beijing loyalty, who was elected by hand, comes after Hong Kong's surrendered its biggest victories history of city, ruled by China in last regional elections 2019. After a 71% participation, the pro-democracy landslide was seen as an embarrassing blow to China and Hong Kong officials after months of anti-government mass protests. In accordance with revised election system announced in May, only 88 of 470 chairs will be elected directly and candidates must be approved by the committees appointed by state. For direct selected seats, more than 70% of the candidates themselves are members of the veterinary committees. The Democratic Party, the biggest opposition party of Hong Kong, could not nominate nominations for any of his candidates, and the centralists and even pro-moderate moderates were closed by new rules. In 2020, election revision followed the passage of a Draconian National Security Law Old British colony, which should be enjoyed by a country. Two systems in China. Although participation insisted that election will not determine success of election, Hong Kong officials tried create enthusiasm among public, organize free concerts and entertainment fairs, give up museum entrance fees, put posters and pay community centers promote elderly. Authorities warned more than 12,000 police officers around city against the attempt to weaken survey. 3 members of the Social Democrats League were arrested on Sunday after planning a protest. Planning outside the voting station used by Hong Congress leader John Lee on Sunday. On Friday, the National Security Police arrested a 77-year-old man on a plan to protest the election on suspicion of preparing to make Sadigıgıdion. At the beginning of this week, the authorities were allegedly republished 38-year-old man, an overseas commentator who called for boycott, and released arrest warrant for German-based activist accused of encouraging people not to vote. Many Hong Konger, however, expressed indifference about the vote, considering the connection with public opinion sensitivity. According to the Hong Kong Information Services Department, voter participation was much higher than 630. The participation for last election that would fill stronger legislative council in 2021 was slightly above 58% from 30% under existing more democratic rules during 2016 survey. Fin Lau, a Hong Kong democracy activist based on the United Kingdom, described his latest regional council vote as meaningless. This is completely meaningless because they are trying to use this election to create their legitimacy for their autocratic actions. Suppress